The culture is great. The Filipinos are the best, I think, in the world. They have, because they're a third world country, they're very humble and very nice. And because they're also humble and they live in such humble circumstances, they're willing to share the world with you. And even though the world may not seem like a lot to somebody coming from out of their country, it's a lot to them. One of the cultural things is Filipinos will never eat the last thing on the plate. Like if you have some food out, they'll never eat the last rice. They'll always leave it for somebody else because they're caring and they're thinking of others. Same thing if you come into their home and you look thirsty, even if they don't have like juice or something, they'll go out and buy some juice with like whatever they have and share it with you. They're the nicest people. They're an Asian country, so of course they have a lot of respect to their elders, and they've got a lot of that Asian culture, but they're also third world, so they're very, very humble and very respectful in all they do. They're just the nicest people ever. You don't really get your door slammed in your face ever because they're so nice. You will have people turn you down, and especially in the city, it gets a little bit more, people are a little bit more busy, so they're a little bit more edgy, and they're a little bit more harder to get into the home. But with Filipinos, you'll almost always get a first appointment. Like when you knock doors, you'll almost always be able to walk in their door. The problem is the second and third time, they are so concerned about your feelings and how you feel. They don't want to turn you down, so they'll either just hide or avoid you and try to like not make contact rather than tell you up front like, hey, we're not interested in the gospel right now. They'll just be like, oh, you know, that's cool, but I got to go to my grandma's or whatever, and they'll make excuses. They'll be very polite, so sometimes you have to kind of feel that out and kind of feel where they are and just kind of understand where they're coming from, because they're too nice to say no. Basically, they're just really happy. That can be a really good thing for missionary work, because sometimes like they're just so like easygoing that when you set appointments, you can go and you can have those appointments and they're great. But sometimes that becomes a bad thing because then they commit. Like if you ask them like, oh, will you read the Book of Mormon? They'll be like, yes, of course I'll read the Book of Mormon. You're the best. I'll read everything. And then you come back the next day and you're like, so did you read? And they're like, oh, I totally didn't. And they're just committing basically to help please you and to help you feel better about yourself, not because they're actually committed to doing anything, which is very nice and very polite, but also kind of makes it a little bit harder to read them and understand where they're coming from and their point of view. So they're really nice, really good people, but sometimes you just got to work with them and kind of be just straight and be like, hey, look, we know like you're a person, you got feelings. How do you feel about this? And they'll be honest. They're really nice. Like I said, I've literally seen Filipinos like stop what they're doing and come help the missionaries. A lot of times you'll get people who don't even know you out in the countryside, and you'll be walking down a long country lane trying to get to your next appointment. Somebody will pull over and, elders, jump in, and you're like, all right. So you get on their little farm tractor or whatever it is they're driving at the time, and you ask them like, so are you a member? Like, how did you know we're elders? And they're like, nah, the elders just taught me once back like 4 years ago, and they were really nice, so I saw you guys walking and I thought, oh, it's too hot to walk. So, and like they're just super nice that way, so super hospitable in all ways possible.